When you live from your desire, you can deepen in your commitment. And that is the polarity that I really took away from the immersion and how that applies to our most intimate relationships. Welcome back to the Ignite the King podcast. This is Dr. Michael Diamond. Been a minute. Today, I want to jump on here and talk about the two most important things that I took away from the most recent Ignite Lover Immersion. There are two powerful teachings, two powerful concepts that I want to share with you, and they're all about accessing the lover energy around desire and commitment, and these being two of the most important things in building a healthy, loving, enduring relationship. This last weekend or a week and a half ago, I held the quarterly Ignite Immersion, the Lover Immersion. And immersion is the word because it's 3.5 days of deep diving, doing the inner work, embodying the new versions of ourselves, and coming out the other side and having to go through that transformational process. And as always, and it never fails, that what we think is going to happen releases or reveals another layer. And then underneath that, we really determine and figure out why we're there. And that happened case by case with each man and overall as a group. And two of the most powerful teachings we took away were this idea of commitment in a relationship, deep commitment, and desire. We have to know our desires. We have to know not just what we're passionate about. Desire runs much deeper than passion. Passion, I'm such a word guy, and passion can, if you break it down, means pass I on. It's the part of you that you're bringing forward. And the word desire is of, and then sire is either sire, like the father, or sidus, like stars. So it's of God, of the Father. So your desires are really connected to that of a higher power of God. And when you live from your desire, you can deepen in your commitment. Let me say that again. When you live from your desire, you can deepen in your commitment. And that is the polarity that I really took away from the immersion and how that applies to our most intimate relationships. And of course, you could apply desire and commitment to your work. You can apply desire and commitment to family. Of course, I want to specifically speak to desire and commitment around relationship, because as a man out there, your partner, your wife, your marriage is holy, it's sacred, it's a covenant, it is a foundation and a building of your legacy that is going to be the most important relationship of your life if you make it that. And as we know, the divorce rate is over 50%. And in some states, it's even higher. And we live in a culture and an age where commitment, I mean, people ghost each other. People don't show up to work. People don't want to work. They're on to the next thing so quickly nowadays. And there's lots of reasons for that we don't need to get into. But truly to bring back the idea of committing to something, to following through, to staying the course, to weather the bad times, to work through things, to learn how to resolve conflict, to learn how to manage your triggers. Because at the end of the day, it's those moments that become the good old days. When you really think back to your relationship and the hard times that you had to get through, the times maybe where you didn't know where the next dollar was coming from, where you didn't know where the next opportunity was coming from, and you solely had to rely on trust and faith. And then when you do that, magically things start to show up. Opportunities begin to appear. Doors begin to open. And yes, it is an energy thing. It is a vibration and frequency thing. As I like to call it, it's like, what version are you showing up as? What channel are you choosing to live on? Your thoughts are not your thoughts. So again, coming back to this idea of desire and commitment, have you even ever stated aloud your desires? Do you even know what your desires are? Like, to truly tune into your body, your physiology, what lights you up, what tingles your skin, what gets you motivated, what gets you going, what not just you're passionate about, but like, what's like the deeper desire? What is it that you want to feel? What is it what you want to be? What is it you want to experience? Who is it that you really want to show up as? Have you asked yourself these questions and really taken yourself through that process of like, what's your desire? Like, what's of the heavens and of God that wants to bring it into you to express itself? You are, Rumi says, you are the universe expressing itself in every moment. That's another thing we did at the immersion. We brought in the elements of poetry, and I brought in the spiritual poems of Rumi, and we had it on our sacred object table in the middle of the room. And before every session, a man would rise up and read that poem, and he would read it a second time, and we would sit there and we'd contemplate and we'd take it in. And every man received a copy of that book, because then they can take that home and they can make that part of their life. The lover energy also, and tapping into desire, is about passion. It's about romance. It's about beauty. It's about nature. It's about tapping into the things that are beautiful in the world. That's lover energy. And then with that, the other side of this piece is commitment and being able to stay the course and being able to weather those storms. Again, like I said, those are the moments that you're going to remember. Those are going to be the good old days. So there were many other powerful teachings, many other powerful moments that I want to share around this lover energy in the framework of desire and commitment. So I spent a month in France this last summer with my family, and it's something we've done twice now. We're going to continue to do because it brings us so much joy. And stepping away from my life for a month and being able to just fully immerse myself with my family every day for a month and be in a new land or a different land and a different waters and eat the local foods and nourish myself was born a desire for more than that. So we were able to bring a number of those things into our experience together. And one of the things around the shadow lover is the addicted lover. And the addicted lover is like this obsessive, needing more, not ever feeling satiated energy. And often we do that with food where we just eat so fast and we don't even taste the food. And in America, the portions are so large and we eat too much and the food is toxic in a lot of levels and sprayed with all kinds of things. And we're devoid of a lot of the nutrients, yet we're filling up on calories. And so I took the men through an experience of slowing down, of bringing a lot of intentionality to our food, of tasting the food, of breaking it down into courses and sitting there and having table time and not just getting a big buffet plate of food and eating it down, but actually having time and space between each course, being able to actually taste the food and talk about the food and let the conversation develop, almost like as you pour wine. And we had one of our brothers who had a former life as a sommelier, and he took us through a beautiful presentation of wine and the wine that we were specifically having and how it fit in the meal and what notes we could expect to taste, and just bringing that level of reverence, bringing that level of specificity and detail to the things that we do, whether it be food or whether it be how we present ourselves or whatever it may be, but not just wanting the Costco sized version of things, but actually maybe getting something smaller that in each bite just tastes so powerful. We had one of the men volunteer and step up and want to create a appetizer, one bite dish of a bacon wrapped scallop with this pineapple slaw on top and this chili aioli. And it was amazing. And it was just like this one perfect bite, and it had all the different flavors, all the different textures. And to just sit with that in the mouth for a moment and allow myself to fully be in that moment. It may sound vain, but how often do you take time to taste the food that you're eating? How often are you eating in your car on the way to something else? How often are you eating standing up over the sink? We need to slow down. And that was another desire that was really heard, was like men taking time for themselves, men taking time for self-care, men taking time to be filled up in order to be the provider, be the protector of their family, to show up in their relationship and with 100% presence, to show up with their families, to show up in their businesses. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, we talk to a lot of high achieving men who are doing life at a high level. And oftentimes that comes with a lot of responsibility. It comes with a lot of stress. It becomes a lot of time commitment. And that time commitment pulls them away from their families, pulls them away from the things that take care of them and the people that are most important to them, who wind up suffering the most. And what I'm here to put forward is that the health of your relationship is the health of everything in your life. Ultimately, that becomes the most powerful, potent crucible of which everything else energizes. So it's the most important place to invest your time and your energy. Often we invest our time and our energy in our business trying to succeed, often at the failings of our marriages. And I'm here to say the more you pour in your marriage, the more energy you have to pour into your business, the more things open up in a way that didn't require that level of time. So this becomes a real gut check for a man, because especially the high achieving men out there, that to think that how are you going to take time away from your business? And it's just like pushing a boulder uphill when you can push it downhill. That is the place that's going to bring your marriage, your deep, intimate relationships are going to bring you the most joy, the most energy, and the most challenge, the most growth. It's where your medicine is. And that's exactly what we need as men to bring ourselves to the next level. And one of the stories I shared at the immersion was the story of Greg LeMond, who was an American cyclist in the 1980s. And it's an amazing story. And there's a documentary that was just released this last year called The Last Rider. And I highly recommend watching it because it's so many undertones and sub themes of the story of comeback in sport, and just amazing. And he won the Tour de France after being shot in the back by his brother after his team that he was on, and the French team unceremoniously fired him. and he came back and beat the top rider and then went on to win it again. And it's just this amazing story. But one of the things that really stuck out to me, and his ability to come back from almost dying to then win, was his relationship and the commitment that he had with his wife and her belief in him and his desire that came from her belief in him. And this is where the themes of desire and commitment that I found really, it was amazing, because after being abroad for a month, it was on the flight home that I saw this documentary, and it clicked that this is what I need to teach about, because this is the lover energy in action. And it came through in such a beautiful way, a beautiful story. But it was her belief in him at his lowest point, where he was ready to give up, where he was injured beyond repair, it seemed. And she told him, doesn't matter what happens, we will be okay and we will figure it out. But you must get back on the bike to know. And he did. And when he did, he couldn't do it. He was breaking down. He was faking flat tires to end the race early for himself because he just couldn't compete. You can imagine having 45 pellets of a shotgun blast in your back, trying to come back from that. And then he had a cathartic moment where he had to process a ton of trauma. And he has some deeper trauma from his childhood I'm not going to get into right now, and I highly suggest watching the documentary. But he had to face his inner demons, his shadows, what we talk about all the time in Ignite the King and the work we do. It's the shadow work of having to face those unhealed parts of ourselves. And after he did, he came back, and that year won the Tour de France in an amazing comeback story. 8 seconds down in the last part of it, recovers 8 seconds, beats the top French rider who was on the team he got fired from, and then goes on to win the Tour de France again the next year. Amazing, amazing story. But it was the commitment in his marriage and his relationship that spurred his desire to keep going and to win and to be a champion. And I encourage all you men and women out there listening to be that in your relationship for one another, to be that level of commitment, to have that enduring love, or pragma, as the Greeks call it. We talk about the 8 types of love, and the love that we're all trying to achieve is this pragma energy, this pragma love, the enduring love, the marriage beyond the wedding, as we've been talking about, the challenging times. By the way, in that story of Greg LeMond, at the time when he got shot, his wife was 8 months pregnant with their second child, and she went into pre-labor or premature labor because of the shock of the situation. So here it was, him in the hospital with 45 pellets in his back, her going into premature labor, and they have a 6-year-old son at the time. And by the way, the brother-in-law that shot him in the back is in a mental hospital because he wants to kill himself because of what he just did and couldn't believe that he just almost killed his brother-in-law. So look at this moment of chaos that's going on in this life and everything that's reorganizing and reorganizing for them to come out the other side. And ultimately, it was the commitment that saw them through, and a lot of miracle. He was probably 1/10 of an inch from hitting a major artery and bleeding out, and he almost died. So this idea again of commitment and desire, and using that as a core foundation for your relationship. And I just celebrated a 12-year wedding anniversary with my wife. We've been together for 22 years, or have known each other for 22 years. And we've been through some shit. We've been through a lot together. We've been through businesses up and down. We've been through children. We've been through families up and down. We've been through lots of, I don't want to say everything because I'm not calling that in. We've been through exactly what has been necessary for our growth. And that's important to bring up because oftentimes we can think our problems are so big compared to others and everyone else has it easier than I do. My dad always says, if you stood in a circle and everyone threw their problems into the middle, you would reach back in and grab your own problems. And I truly believe that. And the most important thing I can do in my life is to focus on what's happening in my life and what I can control and where I can put my energy and the meaning that I'm making things. And that's really the big gut check for a lot of you out there, is like, what meaning are you making the things that happen to you in your life? Because the meaning you associate with it is going to dictate the energy that you approach that thing with. What story are you telling yourself about what's happening? And if your stories are riddled with despair and challenge, and why is this happening to me? And I don't deserve this. And it's this person's fault or her fault or the government's fault or whatever, then I would invite you to a new story. I'd invite you to a perspective change. I would invite you to get into the meat of that energy and start to move it, because then you can start to tap into what you truly want, your desires. And there's this feeling where it's like, maybe you feel like because of your traumas, your wounds, or whatever story you're telling yourself, that you don't deserve it. you don't deserve to be happy, or, oh, there's so much suffering in the world. Why do I deserve to be happy? Every human deserves to be happy. Every human deserves to have this deep sense of purpose and desire. It's what you choose to do with it. This is personal growth 101. And it's an important fundamental reminder that it's your birthright to experience this world. In America, it's the pursuit of happiness. And you have to go after it. It's in the pursuit that you must move towards. And it's up to you. You can choose not to and live the life that you're living, and that's okay. But if you truly want something more, if you truly want to grow and to evolve, and if you're listening to this podcast, you obviously are on some kind of path of wanting to better yourself as a man. And it's really our duty and our responsibility as a man to take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. I mean, that if you want to bring it down to what is the mission of being a man, what does it mean to be a man? That's what it is. It's to lead with purpose. It's to lead with commitment. It's to lead with desire. It's shown that the happiness of the house, yes, is related to the mom, but a father's happiness, the king energy, absolutely sets the tone for the home. And we get into this around king energy, and is there order in your kingdom, or do people feel like they're flourishing, or is there chaos in your kingdom, are the lands fertile or not? And we have gotten into that in different episodes, and we can get into that deeper again in the king season. But right now, it's deepening in commitment. It's deepening in desire. And this plays perfectly into where we're evolving to in our group for this next season, which is the warrior energy. And the warrior energy is all about commitment. It's all about discipline. It's all about determination and focus and doing what you say you're going to do. It's one thing to claim something. It's one thing to claim your desire. It's one thing to claim commitment, but it's that 1% every day. It's the times when you don't want to do it. It's times when it's not glamorous. It's the times when no one's looking. Do you still do it? That's what commitment really comes down to. So I'm just going to leave you with a couple of final thoughts here. Again, we just had our most recent Lover Immersion, and that Lover Immersion was all about desire and commitment and truly tapping into what really lights you up beyond your passion. What do you desire? What do you yearn for? What's like deep in your heart? And can you express that? And then what are you committing to? Who are you committing to? And commitment to really put yourself out there, to 100% commit. And not just from your words, but by your actions. Those are the two things I'll leave you with. So excited to get back on here. It's been a little bit. I'm re-upping my commitment to the Ignite the King podcast and to sharing with you men and women the world of Ignite the King, how to be a better man, how to be a better man in your relationship and in the world. And with that, we are complete for now. Have a beautiful day. Aho.